A priority now?
We hadn't gotten that far, those are just think topics of, well, I don't want to speak for the whole subcommittee, but there were topics we all discussed, the possible situations we were asked Cindy to give us the numbers, so that when we were gonna meet Wednesday morning, we were gonna put them into the mix.
So tell me again, you said you had a high school ELA person resign, effective end of the year?
Correct.
Okay, not immediately. So does that, we're not filling that because we didn't have the numbers, right?
Correct. The class size would still be approximately 15 to 17 per section,
Okay.
per section without that fifth teacher. With the resignation, it would mean that that person would be here regardless, and we would not be moving for that.
So that's one that we definitely can count on, the high school ELA position, correct? Right? Okay, now, home economics.
She's the home ec teacher here. She's a helping for really.
She would come here.
Right, so the person who's in that position here at the high school will not be coming back. So they're gonna eliminate the position at the middle school in the program, but that middle school teacher will come to the high school.
So we're eliminating
So you're technically eliminating the middle school program, and that teacher will come to the high school and fill the open space.
The conversation was about how there's a real plan to improve the rigor of the family consumer science program in the high school anyway. Perhaps look at the new commercial kitchen that's being planned in the town and tie it to a career pathway. And so over the next year, we would look at redefining and redesigning that program. Hopefully, moving forward, the economy will allow us to reinstate family consumer science at the middle school. And at that point, we would hire someone that would be the right match for the direction of the program. So it may not be a long-term elimination of that program, but in the short term, it would be a cut. It would not result in the laying off of the teacher. And we would begin to look at that program in its entirety and design it to be a more rigorous, intentional course.
My memory serves me, this was put on a list of potential cuts with our previous superintendent. And there was an outcry from parents about eliminating it. Am I right, Jason?
You had retirement, and there was a discussion about not filling the position. It was last year.
And it was last year? And weren't there a lot of parents concerned about eliminating that position at their school?
I was gonna say, if it's a program, it's in there, and you just take a whole program out. I mean, it's not like cutting a teacher and putting more kids in the class. You're removing the whole program. So either it's a valuable program or it doesn't. I mean, what's?
if we're gonna make the high school,
I'm just feel uncomfortable taking from the program.
It's not ideal, but it's.
The impacts are gonna affect either class size, programming. There's just no way you can eliminate 600,000 and not have it affect the major components of our program.
This year we had a math class that was quite large, 30-something youngsters. Are we gonna run into that again?
We're in the process of doing the scheduling, so we don't know what the actual numbers are. And the reason we had 31, 32 in that class was because we had far more students eligible for the advanced placement. And we had to either increase advanced placement or increase regular, decrease. We had to have a decrease in one area or the other. And the feeling was that if we had more kids in the accelerated class as opposed to more kids in the regular class, where kids would need more attention and more support. And so the decision was to make the larger numbers in the advanced placement class. Yeah.
It was last year. his opinion here is important as well. Hi, Nan and Tracy. As the day progresses, I'm feeling increasingly ill. My plan was to attend tonight, but not sure if I'm gonna make it. In case I don't make it, I wanted to send along my thoughts in terms of the budget cuts for the high school. Outside of the two positions, English and business, there is no more room for cutting positions at the high school, including not only teachers, but paras, secretaries, and custodians. Also, I strongly discourage any more cuts to student resources. As you know, we are in dire need of new textbooks for math, social studies, and world language. Without a doubt, the enrollment numbers at the high school do not support employing 5 English teachers. However, if the Board of Ed were to make cuts to the budget in other areas that freed up funding, then if at all possible, I would advocate for keeping the high school business position. This position will allow the high school to offer more sections of information technology which support the vision of a digital portfolio for all students before they leave the high school. Sections of senior project, which will decrease senior project class sizes, and sections of learning lab, which offer more support opportunity for student learning. We will be able to function without a second business position. However, you need to know that there will be an impact on student services. I will have to look for other avenues to support creating digital portfolios and teaching sections of senior project, and there will be less learning labs available to students. With $600,000 worth of cuts, I do realize the money has to come from somewhere, and I do not envy the board's position. With that said, I believe I have made the most appropriate cuts given all the variables involved. I appreciate your consideration of the above. Sincerely, Eric Spencer, Principal PRA.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for what he was referring to. Where is that on this list? This is the one that's 10, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that is right below your list?
This building is smaller than the middle school. How many people does it take to clean the friggin' thing?
It's right. It's
Plus the janitor gets a $25,000 vehicle to take off.
That was not one that was considered cut.
No, the enrollment number.
The head janitor, excuse me.
Section.
Yeah.
This is based off
You have to drive your car to work.
the requests for next year. Other than the class that you referenced, the information technology, which is not
Yep.
budget required for
Yep.
graduation. Financial literacy had 4, Microsoft Office had 4, business and personal law had 11, accounting had 12, programming and animation had 8, and global business had 12.
How about the math classes? You got that?
Math?
Yeah.
I don't have math, I don't know. Mary Beth, did you bring the enrollment numbers?
I do not.
Is there any concern that you can recall in terms of math sections?
What's amazing is that?
Yes, for the high school.
Right now, they are running all the schedules, there doesn't appear to be any overages. But Eric did not give us any indication of what the actual numbers will be.
And the high school math interventions is still on the list of proposed cuts.
That was the repurposing of a individual, that position was not in a budget request from a school, it happened because of the board.
I mean, that's something I felt strongly was needed for a long time, particularly when students that leave Hale Ray come back and say that that's the area that they felt least prepared in the workplace or in college. It was math. And I hate to see that position cut.
I know, one thing that people, it's tough as a board to bring up, but been considered, but needs to probably have a little bit more talk, is possibly with our enrollment decreasing, I think it's time to really take a look at an administrator position and see if that could help bring back some of the other programs that are up on top. I know it's not a decision we need to make tonight, notify, but I think time will come soon to at least give that some thought.
Well, we, as a subcommittee, we had, and that's why it's on the list.
Yeah.
What we started off with this ranking was, the first sheet we worked off of was identified possible reductions. And the administration going through, kind of prioritized those. So there had been some positions that had been immediately mentioned that the administration felt were too valuable to have on the cut. So then we moved on to the next list with the next range of cuts, and then when after the town Board of Finance meeting where we were gonna be with the $100,000, for our next meeting, we had Mary Beth again meet with the administrators to prioritize what was left. And that would be the list you have, the top part of our list here. And then we had, based upon that, in our discussions, I say Tuesday, the day after, whatever that was. We, as we sat around the table and really think what were the good options, what you have down there on the options, the assistant principal and assistant principal position being one of the large ones that was being bandied about. But we're looking for the numbers, and that's probably going to be a big topic on Wednesday morning of discussion.
So tell me again, why did you have two administrators down here?
It was just, I think she just,
Somebody put it in, we didn't.
no, it was,
It was one.
it's just one, it's just, she, I think, Cindy just put the list together, I just gave her, positions and was mentioned it twice.
Sure, sure.
Keon, I would remind you, looking at this, that people, I'm assuming we don't have a policy, but I'm assuming the contract has ripping procedures, so that the business teacher has the right, if they're certified elsewhere, to bump somebody else. And I would remind you that an administrator, while they don't have tenure or any position there, they do have a teaching license. And theoretically, if you eliminated the administrative position, they would have the right to revert to the teacher's contract. As I recall, somebody who's more adept at this would know better. I believe they would have a right then to bump down.
They would, but they would also receive teacher pay at the appropriate step.
I'm saying they don't, but and I noticed when I was looking through these lists, I don't see some of that mentioned.
But I believe, Bill, that they would have to continue to be able to bump, correct?
But if they have somebody who, if they have 2 years, and they're a science teacher, and there's a science teacher with 1 year, they have a right to do that.
I believe that there's no bumping rates among non-tenured teachers. We can revisit that, but I don't.
I would
believe-
check it, just to be sure.
Yeah, I did ask the question and was told that non-tenured teachers are basically all created equal in terms of, bumping. One is not more senior than the other. Their seniority does not enable them to bump.
I don't know what the contract is, because we don't have a policy on it, so the contract prevails, whatever it says.
No surprise there.
Well, I checked with the union president, and that was his
No
take.
policy.
You ought to know.
We'll check it again.
Just
No policy.
The other thing that I'm sure folks might disagree with me, but I've had personal experience with this just last week. I hate to lose those hall monitors. I don't have any hall monitors. I had somebody get in and steal a staff member